Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another video on Eve Echoes. Today we're going to be going over today's AMA from the developers, which was supposed to be about corporations, alliances, and corporation outposts, etc. However, things do get a little bit derailed, so do strap in. This is going to be a fairly lengthy video. What I'm going to do in this one is essentially I will pull up the details on screen. I'm going to go over the highlights of the AMA, the best answers, the most important questions, that kind of thing. Give a quick analysis on any of the ones that sort of need to be explained a bit more. Otherwise, it's just going to be quickly reading through. As such, of course, you can treat this video as if it were a podcast. Just strap in, hit play, and just continue doing the washing up or whatever it is you do while listening. Anyway, that's said and done. Before we jump in, if you do enjoy this video, let me know by hitting like on it. Consider subscribing to the channel for all things Eve Echoes and ding that notification bell to know when the next video goes live. Let me know what topics you want me to cover in future videos, either by commenting down below or by finding me on social media, including the Catskull Cartel Discord, which has public channels that you guys can join, talk about all things Eve Echoes. Details are all shown along the bottom of the screen now in that lovely little graphic. Finally, as well, on the subject of support, if you do want to go the extra mile to support this channel, you can do so by finding me on Patreon and pledging as much or as little as you can there. Every little donation really does help, so thank you ever so much to everyone who has or will in future. That said and done, let's have a look at the AMA. As I said, this is going to be a long one, so do strap in. Straight off the bat, how can Corp Omegas be obtained? How much will it cost? It's 170 plex that the corporation pays out of the corporation wallet and will actually apply to a particular... You buy the clone and then issue it to someone. How much skill points do the additional clones get if one of them has an active skill queue? Basic +5 or combo +30. Basically, if you get the corporation clone on an alpha, it will unlock everything like Omega would, and it gives you the +5 skill points of basic. As I understand this, though, if you already have an Omega active at combo level, it will continue at combo level. You don't lose skill points if someone gives you the corporation clone whilst you have active Omega. How do individual Omega levels affect it? Basic Omega can unlock all restriction, and the combo can free trade perfect and a skill speed bonus. It's what we know. Is there a passive skill cap? I have no idea on it. I've had this clarified since this is ultimately how much skill points you can accrue offline without training. It's the same as an Omega of that level. Will login rewards be reviewed? Are they set? No idea. Are login rewards for each clone on an account for each clone? Yes, there's a lot about the login rewards and the Yang Jun ships and that kind of thing in this, so do be prepared. Nero mentioned yesterday the 2 Yang Jun ships are meant to be collectibles, but for them to be collectibles, they have to be limited edition. For them to be limited edition, there must be a cutoff point. Only in the first month of all characters. After 1 month, the login reward will be turned into a normal one, and less more reward than the first month. Basically, every time someone creates a new account in Eve Echoes, they will have the opportunity to go into Omega and get that first month of login rewards. After that, it is gone. So everyone will have access to these ships, even if you don't do the login rewards immediately, if you come back and do those later. For those who are unable to log in some days, will rewards be sent with a login trigger, and how long will the login rewards remain redeemable in character's mailbox? You have several times to late claim the prizes. This, to me, insinuates that if you miss Monday and you only log in on Tuesday, you'll still be able to claim Mondays as well. But come on, people, there has to be a point where you just accept that if you haven't spent the 30 seconds it takes to log in and claim a reward, you don't really deserve to get it. The idea of a login reward is to entice you to log in daily. Go, if you take 2 weeks off playing Eve Echoes, don't expect it all to be there. That's just not fair, and that's not really committing to that kind of exchange that the developers are after with a login reward system. Will advanced and expert cognitive neuroscience skills remain active even if a character drops from Omega to Alpha? Long story short, yes, which is amazing news. What kind of changes to drones can we expect upon release? In industry process, a small drone blueprint will now create 10 small drones, a medium drone blueprint will contain 5 drones, and a large drone blueprint will make 3 drones. Damage has been reinforced by 20%, which is considerably larger than I thought it would be, and give more bonus on the drone ships. That's awesome. Drone ships, ultimately, in my opinion, weren't bad in the beta. I think they were a little underpowered, mainly because of how rare the drones were. I'm worried 20% plus extra bonuses on drone ships might be a little bit too much, but I'm learning to trust the devs. Just relax. It tends to work out okay. Can we please make some adjustments regarding the login rewards? Provide stats to prove the Yun ships are only for collection. I think we can provide attributes on the 2 ships, that's okay. They've actually stated they'll give us that next week. Make trainer cruiser further down the list on day rewards, 1 time only. I consider about it. I kind of understand that. Having a cruiser on day 4 does feel a bit much. Combine the weapon skill chips into a single reward as to choose one of the following, as in you get a chip that is either your choice of missiles, drones, rails, turrets, that kind of thing. It makes sense. We will. Fantastic. I love that so much. So when that one comes along, you can decide whether or not it's missiles or turrets or whatever. That deals with the problem that ultimately there was a major advantage to anyone who wanted missiles, simply because they got theirs on day 5, whereas other people would have to choose to skill into, say, cannons ultimately, and would then get refunded later. That to me is a big change, and it's a good one. The rest of the rewards are great. We love ship skins. I love you too. I've got to say, I love Nero Augustus. The guy is great to talk to. Okay, will Corps be available to build a Corp outpost station? If so, when they are planned to be in-game? That is sovereignty, if anyone is asking. If you're wondering what sovereignty, that is what it is. When corporations out in Null and Low can start building their own stuff. Now, if possible, 3 months, but I'm not sure. Can't make the promise when launching. That will cause many issues that make some lag. The roadmap suggests Q4 2020 for the next big update, which would include sovereignty, but of course, these things are subject to change. Will we be able to change usernames or corp names, etc.? Yes. Where will the servers be located? I don't know. We've had rumour of Virginia being one in America. Will the coordinate system add back? Will, but not in near future. As far as I'm aware, that is bookmarking, where you can bookmark an area of space so that you jump to that point, rather than just having to, like, navigate manually around. Is this login reward for the first 1 month login players or all? Only in the first month unique login rewards. What if I missed 1 day of login? Late claims. So basically here, in that first month of the game being launched, okay, I stand corrected, in the first month of the game, these rewards will be available. After that, login rewards will continue, but they are at a lower rate. If the Anjun ships are weak in combat and collectibles, why give decomposers and particle stabilizers with them? That's for combat. Well, the reason of the decomposers and particle stabilizers is that at first I considered to put the civilian weapons on the ship, but lots of our teammates think civilian stuff is like a semi-finished product. No one wants to use them. I also consider if we give them marks, they require tech level. So last, we use the storylines modules, which is fair point. You know, if you have these ships, you do want to get a certain amount of use out of them. They've suggested that these particular ships would be reduced by up to 55% efficacy, which means that ultimately, even with the faction fittings, yeah, it's still going to be not overly great. It means that a ship that was on the Shan Yu destroyer, for example, was on tier with about level, tier 8 ships, ultimately is going to be on tier with now sort of more around tier 5, which is important. It means you can still use them, but they're not useless, but they're still collectible. Bounty should be shared in fleet, and maybe loot should be given randomly to each person. Will you change it? The share system will be implemented, but not on August 13th. I do agree with that. As someone who flies logistics ships, it kind of sucks that I'm sitting there keeping everyone alive, and I literally get nothing. I don't get to loot, nor do I get any of the bounties, but glad to see that they're thinking on that one. How can alpha characters trade or send planetary resources to Omega characters? Launching, jettisoning cans, and asking Omega to collect the cargo in space directly. Or ISK to Omega characters. That's kind of the point. Again, if you're trying to do that and sitting there going, why can't I get all of my alpha stuff and send it to my Omega? That is the exact point. That is opening the door for RMTs. Watch my video on why that's a bad thing, where I talk about the monetization system and how real money transactions do ruin a game like Eve Echoes. So if you're asking how can you do that easier, ultimately don't. You shouldn't necessarily be doing that in a safe way. That is the point, that you need to launch and then your Omegas go and pick it up, which of course is risky in lower security systems if there are pirates about. Can alphas pull out a container from PI station, and can other people loot the containers? Of course you can. Yes, that's common sense. If I jettison a container and someone else is nearby, they can loot it. If I jettison a container from a PI station, of course I need to be able to loot it. Can we see the exact stats and roles of the Yangjun prototypes being handed out? Yes, next week. Woohoo. Video on that when it happens. You say there'll be more monthly login bonuses. Does that mean every month? What they say here is the first month is unique. Every month version will be fewer rewards after, like 5,000 SP or some terminable skins. Terminable skins, I imagine, is where it's like the ones that last. You equip the skin and it lasts for 3 days and then it fades out. The engine models are tradable, correct? Could this not cause players to make $5 Omega accounts to stockpile modules for when they use insurance vouchers to revive the ships themselves? The biggest problem is we have Decomposer skills. If your ship is destroyed, the skills may have gone useless. This is a point we've been discussing a lot on the Catskill Cartel Discord, that Decomposers do require a unique skill investment. If you are going to use the Shan Yu Destroyer effectively, you need to skill into small Decomposers, and that doesn't affect any other ship. If I'm skilling small cannons, that affects all of my frigates and my destroyers that are using small cannons. Not so with the Shan Yu the Shan Yu prototypes, the Decomposers. Same with medium and same with large. If you are skilling into those skills, they are only useful on those ships. Ergo, if you lose the ship, those skills now become worthless until you can replace that exact ship. And you know what? If a load of people want to spend $5 making Omega accounts, buying those up and selling them on the market, good on them. That's no different to Plex, really. That ultimately helps support the developers with a load of $5 Omegas, and it converts that $5 purchase into some actual ISK, but based on market rates, which I am all for. And it's going to be worse than ISK because not as many people are actively going to want to be able to purchase it. So I'm cool with that, and quite frankly, it does add that protection. If you have skilled into Decomposers and you lose a ship, you will be able to buy more on the market. As a spoiler alert, I don't really like the Shan Yu Destroyer, so I probably will be selling mine as soon as I get them. Will insurance vouchers be given out a lot? Will they be sold for real money? Won't, I promise. If I do, please show me this screenshot. Thank you. I'm saving this. I'm tempted to put that as my wallpaper, just in case. Everyone watching this, take a screenshot of the screen now, so that if these come back, we can all absolutely bombard Nero with a you promised. You just mentioned that advanced and expert cognitive can be used on alpha characters. Is this correct? Yes. Why waste a question with that? But yes. Why are there no login rewards for mining and industry? The miners and producers are minority in our statistics, so yeah, there's a part of me that thinks, though, that if you started giving more skills to people in mining and industry, those would benefit. But then again, in the final test, the advanced tutorials did include skill chips for mining and hauling and manufacturing. So those chips kind of exist elsewhere. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Capsular Outposts had no bonuses to industry or reprocessing. Will this be the same for launch? Yes, the corporation station will have the bonus. The outpost is used for exploiting. I think exploring is what they mean there, but could be either way. You mentioned we can change our characters' names, pay function or free. Don't know, but it'll be in the game. Can the trainer ships be sold? In fact, I don't want them to be sold, but we don't have enough time to do that. So yes, you can sell trainer ships right now, but quite frankly, kind of pointless with the amount of the rebuild vouchers coming on. Unless, of course, you just don't, like me, you don't want that ship, so you can kind of sell it to someone who chose the Stabber and ultimately wants the Caracal, I guess. Login rewards only for combat pilots. The miners and producers are minority in our statistics. I think the old players can carry these jobs, and that'll be more richer than other players, which is very much true. If they're going to entice a lot of people more down the combat route, then those of you who are doing mining and in industry are going to be much more lucrative in that. Certainly the cartel is going to be promoting our manufacturers and our miners to an insane degree. We're going to be working very closely with them to make sure that they get rich quickly and start forming the foundation for all things in Echoes. Now, in the next test, how many corps can join in the Alliance? Well, there is no next test. Sorry, you've got 14 days. We won't delete the data next time. The formal release, I think at first will be 10, and we'll extend it. So 10 corporations into an Alliance, and that'll be extended later. When the 30 days login reward is over, will there be a new login reward? Yes, but with fewer rewards. Can we play EVE Online in HK iOS or Google Store? Even I don't know what they're asking there. Will module blueprints be seeded on NPC market, or will players just be able to produce ships and rigs? Some area module blueprints will be looted in scout abnormalities. Anomalies. So some module blueprints, I'm hoping things like there were module blueprints in the final test, things like the covert ops cloaking devices, etc. Not sure what we're going on there, but there will be some seeded, and there will be some in scout anomalies as well, by the looks of things. Awesome. Are the costs of starting reverse engineering or manufacturing jobs going to be decreased from final beta costs? We increase the faucet of the cause. I'm not sure what that means there. Ultimately, I didn't think the costs were overly prohibitive at all in the final test. If those stay in at the current rate, I think that's kind of okay. While miners and industry may be minority in statistics, they will be responsible for creating all of the worthwhile ships and will be starting out just as new and poor as everyone else. Could they be included in the login rewards, such as an option for the skill chips? They consider it. I'm the producer always, just let me think about it. Again, those skill chips, the equivalents to those skill chips, are already in the advanced tutorials. You will get those skills. Don't stress it too much. Also, of course, this just means that if you are a mining or industry alt, you do have some cruiser skills to back you up if needs be. Can you clarify the adjustments to data cores ship debris made when you mentioned in the announcements? We understand the existence of trainer will have an impact on the manufacturing industry, so in order to counter this issue, we've also made adjustments to the production rate of data core and ship debris. Yes, the announcement is real, written by me, the rate has been increased. So awesome, they're getting more, you're getting an increased production rate there to counter the fact that there are trainers on the market. Awesome, happy days. Is it intended for all or almost all areas of nullsec to have NPC stations, and will these vanish in systems that don't have them in EVE Online? Their presence makes building capsular outposts and even corp outposts pretty redundant if you have a station that's unattackable to store everything inside of them. Yeah, no, it really doesn't. No, it doesn't. You can have one station that everyone kind of has to fall back to, but then you have all the little outposts and that around it, which creates a proper network. In nullsec, if you've got one station in a 30 system radius, come on, people, seriously. If you're 30 systems out from the station, how safe is it to get the mining ores back? Think. Why don't you just give Mark 3 small decomposers, Mark 7 decomposers, yada 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 yada. As he says here, I always want to give you the best gifts. There's no tech restriction on marks. Obviously, if you're using, like, if they gave out Mark 7 decomposers, you can only use them once you hit Tech 7. If he gave out Mark 3 decomposers, they're pretty much pointless. So they've kind of balanced the ship and given you the nice decomposers, which, I'm all for. Will the Outpost UI and Outpost module information be updated to be completely transparent on how much fuel is required per day per online of a service module fitted to the Outpost? Makes sense, I record it. Yes, please, thank you. When we built that capsular outpost and I sat there and looked at it, I'm just like, what on earth do all these numbers mean? You need this much per every 6 days unless it's under attack and the moon is in Jupiter's orbit or something crazy like that. Basically, it made no sense, and I'm glad that they've seen that and they're going to adjust it. Are those statistics of miners and production-focused characters from the last test, where it was 20 times material production? Otherwise, it doesn't seem very fair to completely cut out the two really core parts of EVE's gameplay. The last year's test data. So that means the alpha, the open beta, the localization test, and the final test. And yes, they will have adjusted for the final test. They're going to look at the final test and say, okay, yes, industry and manufacturing wasn't particularly high because everything else was 20 times better. Literally, in the description, 20 times better. They're aware of that. They're not idiots. So yes, that's going to be taken into account. It's just their low numbers. And it's true in EVE Online. Not that many people sit there and mine, which is why the people who do stare at rocks all day are ludicrously rich. What are the build requirements for a personal outpost, and what are the fuel requirements once it's up? The solar system's number restriction. Basically, the higher security your system is, the fewer you can have in the system. Are there any restrictions to where you can build your personal outpost? Yes, you must be below 0.2. So I think it's 0.2 or below, actually. At least it was in the final test. You could build in 0.2. The lower, the more number you can anchor. So you'll have, off the top of my head, for example, you can build 5 stations in 0.0, but you can build 20 stations in minus 0.8 or something like that. Once Corp Alliance ITC outposts can be built in null space, will Interbus make deliveries to them from Empire ITCs? No, the Corp station, however, will have this function. You announced that the game will go live on August 13th. What time zone is the launch? UTC 8 o'clock. Setting my alarm, I'll see you all in New Eden. Can Plex be purchased for real money on launch? Yes. Of course, thank you for supporting. Yes, that's an obvious one. 100%. Yes, it will be available from launch. It's pointless not to have it. In fact, it's very necessary that it is available early so you can start kickstarting that market. I just want to jump back up here briefly there. Once Corp and Alliance ITC outposts can be built in null space, will Interbus make deliveries to them from Empire ITCs? No, the Corp station will have this function. I'm not entirely sure what that means, because they say, can you deliver to corporation ITCs? No, but you can to corporation ITCs. I think we need more clarity on that one. Is there a current resource where we can view models and ship states from the beta? Yes, go back through my videos and you'll be able to see all of the nice ships that I flew in full glorious 3D, and you can have a look at their stats when they show up on screen as well. No, in all seriousness though, I may ask Exile the permission of the game data to the public, but if allowed we need time to translate them into English. I'd be all for that, but I believe there are several wiki sites and websites being built at the moment as well that include that data. In regards to sovereignty and it being introduced, can you provide some information regarding what areas we'll be allowed to capture for those who are not familiar, such as nullsec, lowsec, highsec, and is there any specific regions left out and considered NPC zones? Well, as it currently stands, highsec apparently looks like it's not going to be sovereignty, looks like it'll be 2.0 and below based on the Capsuleer outposts. That's what I'd imagine. Will be the same configuration with EO the first time. So someone needs to tell me how that worked in EO at the beginning at launch there. You said that we can take daily rewards later, even if we didn't enter the game. How long days in a row will it collect without logging? The late claims, if you forget to log in, we can give you some time to resign. Ultimately, I think that means just log in. Come on, people. It's 30 seconds to log in. If you're, like, just not really around, take a 30-second, like, toilet break at work and quickly borrow the Wi-Fi. I'm not condoning any action that might get you fired. I guess if you're out camping or something like that, then fair enough, but it's a game, guys. I know I'm making content on it. It's a game, guys. Don't worry about this too much. There will be a little bit there, but ultimately, after the first month, the rewards aren't going to be huge. We've got confirmation on that, so don't stress it. Just enjoy the rewards that you do get. Don't stress if you miss out on any of them. You mentioned that we can change username and corp name. Personally, don't like this option. Will the ID remain the same or the ID changes way as well? ID will not be changed. I think it's important that people are given the option to change name. I think it should always come at a cost so that you can't just gank people and change name, but I'm glad to see that the ID numbers will remain the same so that anyone with a couple of brain cells to rub together for warmth can still figure out that it's the same person just with the name changed due to the code being the same. This is important for me for numerous reasons. Back in the days I used to go by a completely different online name to the one that I currently use with Captain Benzie, so it was nice to go back into some old games and rename myself up to Captain Benzie. Do you think a server for 150,000 players would be enough for the launch, or are you planning to upgrade to 200,000 or more? Will you make ads about the game to attract more players? This will allow more players to discover the game. More players equals more microtransactions. Yes, I think the devs are aware. Our maximum online players number is 200,000 for our service. The service's maximum ability, which makes sense. Yes, there are 5 million people currently signed up. Of those 5 million, many of those are going to be multiples of the same person, where it's one person has signed up with 5 or 10 emails. To the same token as well, simply put, they're all in different time zones, and as much as you might think it's going to be the case, the vast majority of people are not going to be on at launch and doing a full 24-hour playthrough of the game. A lot of people will be glad to be on there on the first day. I think 200,000 should be fine. I do foresee there being server issues. 200,000 is going to cause issues at certain points in the game. Jitter. But I think in other areas you will be pretty much fine. And hey, any service outage just means more free skill points in the mail. How will we obtain Mordu's Legion ship debris in the game to reverse engineer their ships? And will it be similar to Sisters of Eve ships? Will it be tied into exploration or a new mechanic? Ask Melis and Lansdot to make more missions on Sisters of Eve and Mordu. They're in charge of it. Note to self, go speak to Melis and Lansdot. This means in EVE Online, Mordu's Legion ultimately are very rare spawning anomalies in low security systems. We thought that was going to be the case in EVE Echoes, the final test. I don't know anyone who actually found a Mordu's Legion anomaly. We do know that people destroyed a Mordu's Legion ship in the dev event and looted it and built stuff out of that, but how they're actually going to appear, I don't know. From this, it sounds like missions, i.e. encounters, which actually is kind of cool, and I'm kind of all for that. I just need to figure out which ones, because I really want a Gama and an Astero. Just to clarify, after 30 days from the game launch on August 13th, the Yangjung ships will no longer be available as login rewards for new players signing up after that. No, the login rewards are the same for all the newcomers for the first month, meaning the first month, ultimately you get a situation where people log into the game, they start to play, they can access all of those things. To me, that insinuates that if you start playing in, say, December, you will still have the option to log in and get those first 30 days of rewards, which is a really cool little thing. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. It means it's not just a, hey, welcome to EVE in the first month, here's some awesome stuff. Other people do get the option later on. I can't tell you how many games I've logged into. I've looked at some of the skins or the options and gone, oh, that's amazing, I really want that, how do I get it? Only to discover that it was completely time limited. Yeah, it does add a certain amount of cool factor to it if you were one of the first people into a game and you've got this unique ship, but remember, these ships can be destroyed, so you kind of still get that uniqueness from that. I don't know. I'm either way on that one. If it turns out that this is all mistranslated and actually, yeah, it's only the first 30 days that the game is live that you get the Yanjung ships and it's just available to everyone, which is not what I'm reading this as, either way works for me. Will there be a cognitive neuroscience combo pack, or will we need to buy each individually? We'll have a bundle of them. Cool, that means those who are going for all three off the bat can do it in one purchase by the looks of things. Cool, all for that. Sorry, just for those to clarify, for those who've already claimed their first month 30-day login rewards, will there be more login rewards after them, or is it only for new players and new Omega accounts? The first month is unique and the same for all players, and we will add the monthly login rewards for all players who register 30 days before. The monthly login reward may be simple than the first month login. Basically, when you start the game, you get a very special 30-day login reward, a beginner's 30-day login reward, which is what we've seen, or a close facsimile to what we have already seen. At the end of those 30 days, you slot into the usual, regular, daily login reward cycle. This is common for many games, which maybe give you the first week or two, maybe the first month, of very special login rewards to keep you coming back in daily at a slightly higher rate to kind of kickstart you into the game. Then you get standard login rewards after, which are, from the looks of things, timed skins and SP, which, frankly, I'm all for. What is the launch-ready status on blueprints for modules manufacturing? Some area modules were in the Scout Abnormals as blueprints. Will the Outpost-related blueprints be seeded? The NPCs sell the blueprints directly. Huzzah! Yay! Has the fuel cost of Outposts been tweaked, considering its low defenses and no corp stations for a while? Yes, yes, yes. I have decreased the cost, so don't burn my house or delivery blades to me. I love that response. So many people complained about the insane fuel requirements for a Capsuleer Outpost. Nice to see Nero has taken that on board and gone, yes, please don't crucify me. Here, have your lower fuel. Don't kill me. How quickly can servers be expanded if we reach the 200,000 limit? Exile will answer. From what I gather, the individual servers themselves are at a 200,000 player limit, ergo they will have to buy new servers. New servers is increased cost. Increased cost obviously has to be backed up, so just be aware of that. We'll get an answer from Exile as quickly as we can. Will there be other forms of monetization in the future that have affect gameplay or skill points, or will you try to keep them cosmetic? I have no idea on monetization for now. Please wait for our release. I will think about it. They have stated they will not sell ships directly unless the market cries out for it. And if any of you are crying out for ships to be sold directly for actual dollars, you are idiots. I cannot say that loudly or straight-faced enough. I'm not going to pretty that up. If you think that you should be able to drop 50 bucks into this game and buy a ship, you are a moron who is destroying the game. I'm not going to pretty that up. I'm not going to tone that down. That is facts, because you are removing the need for resources from the game and replacing it with an actual dollar value. Big difference between buying Plex, which you then sell for ISK, which means someone else has to earn that ISK to buy the Plex. It's a trade. You're both getting something out of it. You then use that ISK to buy a ship off the market. Okay, yeah, sure, you have spent $10 and you've turned that $10 worth of Plex into ISK. You are then using that ISK to buy a ship. What's the difference between doing that and just buying a ship for $10? Simple. The ship that you bought with the ISK was built by another player. It used resources from another player. A miner was paid for the ores, a reprocessor was paid to reprocess, someone was paid to manufacture it, and now they're selling it. Difference. Can we get a buff to the Rifter? The railgun? Next big extension version. Think about reinforcing them. Love you, don't push me. Oh, my baby, the Rifter needs buffs. It's a tier 2 frigate and it's terrible. It's never going to get any changes, is it? At this point, I'm just hoping that we get the Wolf and the Jaguar added, which I think would be Rifter 2 and Rifter Assault. We are nearing the end of this now, guys. Will you be updating the models of the Gurstus and Serpentis in the future? They're the only factions that don't have unique models, they're just reskins. I think if Echoes runs well, we will have. Let's be honest, in EVE Online, with Gurstus, definitely, that's the point. The worm is supposed to look like a Merlin. It's it's stolen from designs. Same with the rattlesnake looking like a scorpion and the Gila looking like a moa. They're stolen designs from Caldari Space. They're supposed to look the same. If you make them too unique, that kind of rips it off. Ugh. Learn your lore. Can you release the balance changes from beta to release before the game releases so we don't waste too much time finding our skill paths? Not this time. Next big expansion version. Love you too. Ultimately, I'm all for that. A lot of people are asking me, oh, but don't you want patch notes? So, you know, no, I don't. I don't want to have a mad, dump of knowledge on me right at the start. I want to have to look at the actual ships that I'm building, the skills that I'm training, and that kind of thing. I don't need to know that advanced missile operation has gone from 1,500,763 to 1,600,072 skill points. I don't need to know that. I'm brand new to the game. Let me play the game, let me get in, then tweak from there. They're betas. You don't patch betas. They are free, complete rework from the ground up. Everything from a beta should be considered subject to change. Will Outposts get skins? Yes. Huzzah! Can't wait to see those. What kind of cosmetic can we get besides just paint jobs for ships? Will there be decals or engine flame cosmetics or anything else? Nice idea. We'll think about it. You know what? Give us decals. Give us the ability to put our corporation logo on the side of our ships, and I will never, ever zoom out ever again. Will we receive a better fleet PvE loot bounty sharing system? The future we will have, but not on August 13th. Will you possibly add a new app or release data to let the community help you design skins in the future? I'm not in charge of it. That'd be cool. Brawl Stars do that, where you can design your own skins and outfits and stuff, and they actually choose the best and add them to the game. 100% I would be up for having that as a tool. Obviously, let's focus on getting the game out first and some of the really cool features before we worry too much about stuff like that, but 100% I am behind that idea. Zimbabwe flag, Rifter, when? And last question, will NETEA ever get a profile picture on Discord? I'm guessing that's one of the devs who hasn't got a profile picture. I don't care, waste of space. Warp Disruptors, Scramblers, and Warp Bubbles range from non-existent to extremely rare. Will they be back in the game at launch? Will they be common? This is the last questions, by the way. No, but later we'll have. Can you let us know where the IT stations will be? Okay, we'll think about how to share this information, our website or some places in Discord, if allowed. Again, there's a part of me that thinks, you know what, there's a good bit of fun if on the day we have to load up our actual overviews and look at where the ITC stations are. I think that's fine. I don't necessarily think we need the map ahead of time. I think this is coming from a guy running a corporation as a content creator, for crying out loud. I think some people are focusing way too much on planning everything perfectly. Plans never survive contact with the enemy. You are going to come up with an awesome plan of action of what to do, and then on day one, something's going to change and you're going to hate yourself for it. Just enjoy the game. Make a plan, get some basic ideas of what you want to do. I don't know exactly which order I'm skilling in. I know what skills I want to get first, and I know a vague idea of the kind of direction I'm heading. I know which system I'm aiming to settle in, and if it turns out they've moved the ITC station out of that system, I will just move to the nearest one and alert everyone in the Catskill Cartel that that's what we're doing. Chill, relax, it's a game, people, enjoy it, have fun with it, don't stress yourself out too much. To jump up as well, Warp Disruptors, Scrams, and Warp Bubbles range from non-existent to extremely rare. Will they be back in the game at launch, or will they be common? I've actually had some really cool information from the devs on this one. I'm not revealing anything just yet. Let's say that there is some changes from the final test into how this is going in live. Ultimately, during the final test, Warp Disruptors were available in only one location. There are some changes being made to that because that location was extremely lucrative in that there were numerous things available all in that one. I'm naturally keeping that fairly tight-lipped at the moment for the Catskill Cartel. We need to have our own little advantages here and there, but there will come a time when I reveal that information to you all on YouTube, so of course, do remember to stay subscribed, stay tuned, and stay active for all things Eve Echoes. That's our last question. There's a lot there to unpack. I know this video is super long and you're probably tired of listening to my voice right about now, so thank you for listening all this way through. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Hopefully there were some things that you've gone, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. I imagine there are some things you've gone, hang on a second, wait, what? And just let me know down below. Let me know in the comment section. I'd love to have a chat with you guys, see what your thoughts are. Obviously, discuss other people's as well. Have a look through the comment section, see if there's some people who disagree with your thoughts, and have at it. Talk about it. Discuss the different options, things that you like, things that you dislike, things that you want changed. Just keep it positive, keep it friendly. You know the drill, folks. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.